You ever watch a game sink in slow motion, one split second that rewrites everything? That happened on Sunday, and it finished on Tuesday with a $100,000 fine that says as much about emotion as it does about discipline. The league announced the Cardinals fined head coach Jonathan Gannon $100,000 for his sideline altercation with running back Emari Demercado. The NFL said it would take no further action after consulting with the players' union and the club. Reuters, here's the raw chain. Demercado rumbled on what looked like a 72-yard touchdown. Then, inches from glory, he fumbled before crossing the plane. The ball was effectively lost, and the swing changed the scoreboard and the narrative. Cameras captured Gannon storming onto the sideline, Plaquet angrily confronting Demercado and making physical contact as the player walked away. Those images burned across feeds and set off an immediate reaction. The play helped fuel the Titans' comeback in a 22-21 Arizona loss. Reuters. If you want to understand why a coach gets fined six figures for this, you need to see three overlapping things at once: the mistake, the human reaction, and the public nature of modern sports. First, the mistake. Dropping the ball before the goal line is the kind of self-inflicted horror that costs games. It's a moment of stunned silence and instant what-if that every team fears. Second, the reaction. Gannon's visible fury is the kind of raw, unfiltered human response that used to live in locker rooms and quiet meetings. Now, with 24/7 cameras and social feeds, those private flashes become public lessons. Third, the league and the club have to manage optics, standards, and player safety. The fine is a blunt instrument meant to mark a line. Coaches can be furious, but they can't cross certain boundaries with players on the sideline. S.I. Gannon himself tried to walk both back and forward at once. He acknowledged the heat of the moment, apologized to Demercado and the team, and said the episode didn't reflect who he wants to be as a leader. "I woke up this morning and didn't feel great about it," he said, explaining that he'd addressed it in a team meeting and offered an apology. That public remorse matters. It's what keeps locker room discipline from tipping into something worse, but it doesn't erase the picture that went viral. San Mateo Daily Journal. What happens next matters for multiple reasons. For Demercado, an undrafted back on a hard early career learning curve, this is more than a one-play headline. He finished with 81 rushing yards on 3 carries in the game. But what will stick in the short term is how teammates, coaches, and fans react to his handling of the aftermath. In the long term, the real test is whether the team rallies around him and whether the staff turns this into a teaching moment rather than a public spectacle. San Mateo Daily Journal for Gannon, the fine is a public rebuke and a practical statement about accountability. He's in his 3rd season as Arizona's head coach, and the team now sits at 2-3 after 3 straight losses. This franchise is already under pressure to find stability and results. A coach getting fined for an on-field confrontation is not just an interpersonal issue. It's a leadership story that will be folded into evaluations about culture, control, and the direction of the program. Reuters. From the league's point of view, the decision to levy a fine but take no further action is calculated. It punishes unacceptable behavior without escalating to suspensions or longer punishments that would further destabilize a team mid-season. The NFL has to balance enforcement with season flow. It also has to account for union input and precedent. Finding the coach and closing the file is a message to everyone. We saw it, we disapprove, now move forward. But don't expect similar leeway for repeat incidents. NFL.com. The social media aftermath is predictable and messy. Clips loop, hot takes multiply, and a single emotional second can define public perception far more than a week of quiet leadership. Coaches used to be able to correct players away from cameras. Now a coach's temper becomes a headline, and a player's mistake becomes a trending debate about toughness, accountability, and forgiveness. That dynamic pressures teams to handle mistakes more carefully in public, or else risk the optics overshadowing the football. SI, so what should Cardinals fans and neutral observers watch for in the coming days? First, internal cohesion. Do we see players publicly backing Demercado, or does the story metastasize into fractious locker room chatter? Second, coaching adjustments. Will the staff double down on sideline protocols, or will Gannon try to demonstrate renewed temperance to rebuild trust? Third, practical football consequences. Can Arizona stop the skid and move past a play that cost them a win, or will the psychological hangover linger and affect performance? The answers to those questions will tell us whether this is a teachable moment or the start of a deeper distraction. CBSSports.com, there's a humane angle here that's easy to lose in the noise. Humans make catastrophic mistakes under pressure, and humans react under pressure. The right organizational response mixes accountability with support, discipline when necessary, but also coaching, empathy, and a plan to move forward. A six-figure fine makes clear the line the team and league drew. What matters more is how they use this incident to reinforce standards without crushing a young player's confidence. Reuters, the quick version, an inches from glory fumble changed a game. A coach's heated sideline reaction changed the headlines. The team fined its leader $100,000 and the league declined further discipline. That's the scorecard. The real story will be measured in what happens next, in meetings, in practice, and in the next time Demercado touches the ball. Will this be a moment that hardens a team into accountability or one that fractures trust? The fine answers the what. The next weeks will answer the so what. Final image, replay the fumble in slow motion, then cut to the sideline clip that everyone saw, and ask quietly who will be steadier the next time the light hits.